Good evening, everyone, to the Common Council meeting for October 10, 2023. The first thing in the agenda is called to the order to the meeting. Second, please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. So next, roll call.
Mayor Alder Allen.
Present.
Mayor Rada.
Here.
Alder Gerhard.
Here.
Alder Gerth.
Here.
Alder Jester.
Here.
Alder Maldonado.
He's absent.
Alder Maldonado is absent. Thank you. Alder Strassman. Here. Alder Udell.
Here.
Alder Wheeler.
Here.
You have four, Mayor.
Thank you, Tracy. Next in the agenda, item number 4, public appearances for non-agenda items. Do we have anyone that wish to speak for non-agenda item? No? Okay. So next we move to the next item in the agenda is Mayor Proclamation. So tonight we are recognizing October 10, 2023 as a White Cane Safety Day. So whereas on October 6, 1964, the United States Congress designated October 15 of each year as a White Cane Safety Day, and
whereas blindness and severe visual impairment affect approximately 109,000 Wisconsin residents, and
whereas most of these people use travel aids, such as a white cane or a service animal, to get around public streets and sidewalks and places of public accommodation, and
whereas these travel aids are universally recognized as symbols representing vision loss, and
whereas Wisconsin white cane law requires that motorists come to full stop before approaching closer than 10 feet to a pedestrian who is using a white cane or service animal, and
whereas greater awareness of the white cane law leads to safer, more attentive driving in general, enhancing the safety of all pedestrians, including children, elders, and people with disabilities, and
you can read the next one.
Whereas communities have the opportunity to implement many proven features to enhance the safety of all pedestrians, including sidewalks, accessible pedestrian signals, and curb ramps.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Julia Ratafrata, Mayor, along with the Fitchburg Common Council members, do hereby proclaim October 15, 2023 as a White Cane Safety Day in Fitchburg and acknowledge the importance of pedestrian safety year-round. So this is proclaimed today, October 10 of 2023. So before I go to the, I ask Jill, some of our residents that they use white cane to approach the podium.
Mayor
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes.
You are muted to those on Zoom. I don't know if Fact TV can unmute the meeting on Zoom.
Oh, now. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Perfect. Yes,
okay,
thank
sorry.
you.
Okay. So I brought forward this resolution because, you know, my mom, who lives in Argentina, she used a green cane. She became almost blind a couple of years ago. I was surprised when I went to visit her how she used a green cane. In Argentina, it's kind of the white cane, but they call it green cane. And she used that. She lived in a very transit area, and she used that to go everywhere, you know. And people respect, motorists respect, you know, when you have a people approaching with a green cane. So I think I want to recognize all the people here living in Fitchburg that what is important is very important for us to recognize people that are using the white cane and how we should respect and approach them when we see them, you know, walking or around the city. So can we bring to the, and we can. If the members want to come, everyone is welcome. Close it.
I know. I said I'm going to get them right next to you.
Okay. So here we have two members of Fitchburg that they are using, as you see, the white cane. So I don't know if you want to say something. Can you introduce it?
Yeah. My name is Michael Christopher. This was a room that I've been in a number of times because I represented, when I was with the firm of DeWitt, Ross and Stevens, we represented the city of Fitchburg. So I'm familiar with this place. But a year ago, we moved to the crossing and down the street, and we love it a lot. So appreciate this very much. And this is my lifeline.
My name is Jim Denham, and I work for the Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired as a technology specialist. In addition, my wife and I are also Fitchburg residents. And Madam Mayor and members of the Common Council, I really appreciate this proclamation. Being pedestrians is really important. Not only is this White Cane Safety Day, but also October is Pedestrian Safety Month. And, one of the reasons my wife and I moved to Fitchburg is because it is such a pedestrian-friendly area. We've got sidewalks, we've got the audible pedestrian signals, we've got the bus lines, all the other different things that make it a very pedestrian-friendly area. So it's a great place to be if you are a pedestrian. For the 110,000 people in Wisconsin who are non-drivers, this is how we get around. This is how we get to run errands and get to schools and get to work and different things. So it's really important. I would urge members of the Common Council and the mayor to continue your efforts. The more auto pedestrian signals we can get in place, the more curb cuts, the more things we can do to continue to make Fitchburg the pedestrian-friendly city it is. I really appreciate this, so thank you.
Certainly. My name is Jill McCone. I'm the director of the Fitchburg Senior Center, and we also are happy to see the city proclaim this White Cane Month. We do have a lot of folks that come to the center that are visually impaired and use white canes. And so we too want to promote pedestrian safety all throughout the city. And if you know of someone who's over 60 and could need some help, send them our way.
Thank you, Jill. And thank you, everyone, for coming. Okay, I appreciate it.
You should be between those two, yes?
So next in our agenda is the public hearing on Resolution R-187-23 is the mayor's proposed 2024 operating budget. And I have a couple of residents that want to speak, so I'm going to be calling you to the microphone. Remember, you have 3 minutes to speak, okay? So the first person that I will call is Linda Brewer. She wishes to speak in support of the increase of 100% for the city forester position. Thank you.
My printer's still not working, so I have to read off my computer. Okay. All right. Our mayor and parks director have proposed that the city forester position be increased to 100%, and I support this. In order to meet the needs of our city, Fitchburg requires an increase of 100% for the position of city forester. And there are many reasons why, and I've listed some of them as a justification for doing so, or support for that decision. One, there is a rapid pace of development and upgrades in the city of Fitchburg, which includes residences, businesses, and transportation throughways. Strategic planning is required to maintain the presence of trees in this process. Two, our city has established a goal of 30% tree canopy cover for our urban service area. This requires maintaining healthy trees and tree lots. Three, it is a goal to protect monetary investment in newly planted and established trees. Four, it is a goal to maintain existing mid-age and old growth canopy trees as high-value infrastructure for the city of Fitchburg. 5, there has been an increase in need for the city forester to access tree resources required for new plantings outside of limits within the current city budget. She has worked on grants and accessed a variety of programs from the state as well as local and national organizations, and all of this takes additional time to do so. 6, there has been an increase in time required for the city forester to coordinate volunteers for the labor required for new plantings. 7, emerald ash borer devastation continues to require increased time for the city forester, which includes assessing safety resulting from dying old growth trees. 8, upgrades and development of city parks requires increased time for planning, plantings, preservation, and tree maintenance. 9, rapid growth in road pathway reconstruction for car, pedestrian, and bicycle throughways requires strategic planning with the city forester to maintain the presence of trees. So in conclusion, a city forester position of 80% is not adequate to meet the stated goals for a city of our size and growth. So I'm grateful that you support the important work of urban forestry, land management, sustainability, and monetary investment from the taxpayers of our community, which includes tree infrastructure. Increasing our city forester to 100% is one more crucial step to maintain health and value within our public, residential, and business community. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. So next, Sue Easterday. She wishes to speak in support of the full-time forester naturalist.
Hi, I'm Sue Easterday, 2731 Osmondson Road. I'm the chairperson of the Parks Commission, and for about 6 years have been a volunteer working closely with the forester, a naturalist, in clearing out invasive species in areas in the parks, and also repopulating those same areas with native plants, seed collection, and seed distribution after spring burns. So I'm not an expert, but I've just learned a lot over time, and I find working and doing this for the city is very fulfilling. Now, Linda, who just spoke, is the chairperson of the Tree Advisory Committee, and they report to Parks Commission. So as far as other comments supporting the full-time position, just whatever she said, ditto. And we'll just save all that time. I also wanted to comment about the Council Amendment 8 that Gabrielle Gerhardt has for adding funding to pilot sustainable vegetation in street medians. And I think that's a very laudable goal, but I know something needs to be done because this is expensive and repetitive waste of time and gas. But I think we already have a pilot program running for native grasses and forbs, which are flowers, and that is what was planted on Fish Hatchery Road a couple years ago. And it's there, and it's already loading up with invasives. They get there being blown in by the wind. I can drive past at 40 miles an hour and I can see everything that should be there and should not be there, just by virtue of the volunteer work I've been doing. And there's a lot in there that shouldn't be there. And within 10 years, most of what's going to be there is not what you planted in the first place. It's beautiful when it works, but having pollinators drawn into a little strip between 2 to 4 lanes of traffic does nothing to help the pollinators. They just get sucked up into car grills. So what to do? That's the problem. I think the forester naturalists might be able to come up with other ideas. Maybe we can talk about it more at Parks Commission. But what's on Fish Hatchery Road was meant to be not labor intensive. It was meant to grow in and be full and we don't have to do much. Well, actually to get much of what's in there that's bad out of there requires pulling everyone out by hand or herbicides, and that's difficult to do because you can't spray the weed and then not kill something good in between. And it's dangerous for the person who would go there and pull out all the weeds. So I know my time is up, and thank you for listening. I hope we can come up with a solution that helps.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
So next is Patrick Cheney. He wishes to speak, but I don't know about what.
In McGaw Park, this budget funds $10,000 in property taxes to replace perfectly good volleyball posts because it survived the CIP review. This is a completely unnecessary project. I sent 2 packets of pictures to the council earlier to prove my point. Council, this is your last chance to save $10,000 in property tax levy dollars, unless it's okay to waste property tax dollars. I hope to see 8 amendments removing this item. Lighting the pickleball courts is unneeded. It has very little gain. The posted reservation schedule for the last time slot anticipated to play is 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. all season long. At the beginning of summer, it's light out to 9:30 p.m. and the park closes at 10. That's a half an hour. At the end of summer, it's light out to 7 p.m., which is 1 hour before the last time slot ends. Retrofit is expensive. It gains very little for $200,000. I have an idea that could light a few courts at much less cost or maybe no cost. Question to the council, is it a wise expenditure of $200,000 for 4 more pickleball courts to make a total of 12? And this would be to build to meet peak demand. The supply could exceed the average demand. Then no reserving and renting of courts anymore because there will all be available courts. No rental revenue anymore. I've seen on many nice mild days, on weekdays and weekends, there are no players there. The court is empty. Another question, has the council asked for a financial report on the rentals and donations received from these pickleball courts? How much was received after spending $35,000 to get that tournament in rental and donations? I calculated 3 days times all the available time slots at the high non-residential rate would get us rental of $2,880, or the low resident rate, which is what Kappa has always paid, $1,440 returned from that tournament. That's a terrible return on investment. The Fitchburg Star story said that $60,000 was donated by Kappa to the Oregon pickleball courts. How much did Fitchburg receive in donations from Kappa and from everybody? Last, council, double the fee in lieu of land dedication of $65,000 per acre for park dedication. It will be a little bit closer to the actual current property value. I did mark the available to answer questions on the reservation form if anybody has questions.
Thank you, Patrick. So next is Paul Satfin. I don't know how to pronounce it. He wishes to speak in opposition of, I don't know, the budget or... Okay.
Budget.
Okay.
I was here last year, And Mayor, I'm not picking on you. I picked on the last one, and I picked on the one before. I just give my point blank of being a citizen taxpayer of Fitchburg. We are spending money on frivolous, non-needed, essential stuff. We should only be going in for the city's services. We don't have extra money to throw out in the wind for all this pork. And I hate to say it, when you said it last year and then now you come up with it again, I just blew my mind. The Kids Center is not a needed project or a pork or whatever you want to call it. That should be tabled until next year, 2025. But I don't want to see all this exuberant pork for stuff that's not needed when we need, for instance, the police, the fire, the utilities, we all should keep them up at a higher standard because I'd have my head hung high. I live in Fitchburg where the services are excellent. Because there's other places, they're cutting people off. They won't spend their money on their services. And then they wonder why the roads and the police aren't there when they get called, the emergencies. We here in Fitchburg, we have a good one. And I don't want to see us cutting the services. But I'm not into pork. Like my checkbook says, you only pay the bills. I don't have extra to pay for all my extras. So, and it's just, we have a good city. We're a large city without a city, and we can keep Fitchburg as is without going over the cliff. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else for the budget? No? Okay, so I am closing the public hearing for the 2024 operating budget. So now I am open the public hearing on Ordinance 2023-0-20 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR-01-23, adopting and recommending the Spring 2023 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Map 4.3 Future Land Use Plan Map for property associated with 2735 Rimrock Road specifically. So, so we have a lot of people that we want to speak on this issue. So I will ask Diana, our planning director, to make some comment before we go to I open the public hearing to the residents, okay? So, Diana, are you ready?
I am.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. So this, as you know, the city does a minor comp plan amendment 2 times per year, and this is our first one, our spring minor comp plan amendment. This amendment was proposed and first referred out by council last June. Plan Commission reviewed this minor comp plan amendment also in June and then delayed until August. The delay was the Plan Commission requested that the applicants work to address some of the neighbors' concerns. Specifically, the original proposal was for 24 housing units and a daycare. And so the original proposal was to change the future land use map to low density residential to high density residential. Plan Commission asked the applicants to relook at this. And so they have brought forward a revision to their proposal, which would change the future land use map from low density residential to medium density residential. Therefore, the applicants are proposing to construct 20 housing units with the daycare. Plan Commission did approve in August, and the next step in minor comp plan amendments is the public hearing at council and then council's review. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. So now we are moving with a comment. So I'm going to be calling people. So you have 3 minutes, remember? So the first president is Sally Heft. She wishes to speak. She didn't mention for what. Sally, can you say your name and also your address too? Okay, I forgot.
Sally Haft, 95 Maloney Drive,
Thank
Fitchburg, Wisconsin. Okay. We, the people around our area, have had many, many questions that we have proposed during the times to the city about what was going to happen. You don't seem to know what is going to happen as far as the roads, the streets, the lighting, what's happened with the fire department. Is there going to be room for them? Those kind of, and there's many more that other people have had. The developers have answered questions to us. They have had meetings, although the last meeting was not, we didn't have any kind of plan that is going to happen, what it's going to be. We are concerned, and as far as it's not a minor thing to us, it's pretty major. The low density, yes, we wish that it would be to continue being that. And that's what I would prefer. We would prefer houses there. We're all houses. We're not other buildings. And Phoebe Maloney was the person that lived there. And she loved her green space. And I don't think she'd like all this other business taking away her green space. And if there could be more green space in the area, that would be good. That's why it was called Maloney Drive. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. So next is Mark Shevesta. He wishes to speak in opposition.
Hi, my name is Mark Shebesta. I live at 2930 Salem Drive in Madison. My property is behind the proposed construction. I am in opposition of the project as it stands. It is too nebulous and I fear short-sighted. From what I saw in the plans, they're not accounting for the winter months and snow removal and snow storage, let alone the runoff and parking that is going to be complicated by that. I also feel that businesses should be kept off the east side of Rimrock Road and remain on the west side of the street across the way. It is a strong fear of the residents that the daycare will fail and then the owners would be forced to rent it to any business, just so they have a tenant. Because I don't see any need for a daycare in the neighborhood. And that is why I'm in opposition of this project, the way it stands. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. So next is Tyrone Buckingham. He wishes to speak in opposition.
Hi, we've had many meetings. My name is Tyrone Buckingham. I live at 81 Maloney Drive, across the street from where this is proposed. My view hasn't changed in one shape, form, or fashion. I don't think that we need to build up. I don't think we need multiple units in this area. It's full of homes. We're being surrounded by apartment buildings as it is. And the green space will be taken away. We have cranes that come every year that will no longer be able to come, that I enjoy seeing, and I'm sure other neighbors enjoy seeing them as well. They come every year. So where are they going to go? There's going to be, like he said, the rainwater, the snow, traffic, accessibility for, fire trucks, ambulances. Oh, sorry. So I just don't see a need for it. And a daycare, it sounds great, but they fail. I mean, let's be honest. We all have known of daycares that were commercial, big franchises. They're not around anymore. Those things fail for a reason. They're expensive, but to build up in this area, I don't think it's right or needed. I wish you guys would really, really put a hard look and thought into this, because it's going to impact us much longer than it's going to impact them or you, because you don't live in that area. And we've been screaming from the beginning that we want to know what's going on. We need more information, and we've not gotten it. Traffic reports, never seen one. The traffic impact report, you don't know. So we have no idea of what's going to happen. And neither do you guys, because if you had that information, you would have shared it. So I wish you guys would take a longer look and more thought into this, because it's really going to impact us and not you. Thank you.
Thank you. So next is Ted Case? Keyes? I don't know. Keys. Okay.
Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate that you're having a hearing at which we can all come and speak about what impact this change in density will have upon the people in the neighborhood. Many of whom, like I've been there 20 years, Sally and Harvey, fence behind me, they must be going on 35, 40. It's a lot of people that have been there for a long period of time, seen a lot of changes. People always say, buildings are going to be coming. It's always going to happen. Change is inevitable. Some people worry something worse could come along. I think that it's important that you consider what exists now, and that is single detached housing to the north, to the south, to the east. You put in a building this big, a complex this big, it's going to tower over those houses. There's going to be runoff from all the impermeable surfaces that are going to be there. Traffic's going to go up some. More so if you have a daycare where people are coming and going at various times a day. But particularly around, as people are coming off work, going to work, those are going to be peak, it's going to be more congested. So how's that going to impact Rimrock in the future, where it's coming down from, 4 lanes to 2 lanes, basically, with a turn lane in the middle. Maybe you're going to have to redo that road at some point. There's always, in a project like this, or any sort of project, there's gain and there's loss. For me, it's going to be loss of a dark sky in my backyard where I can sit there and look up, see the stars, enjoy myself. Other people, it's going to be right in front of them, right in their faces. And the other loss that I see for us, the city is going to gain. If this goes through, there'll be a greater tax base. That's a positive for the city. For us, though, that are living there, one of the things that really struck me about it is that when my mower breaks down, I can go to a neighbor and say, "Can I borrow yours?" And a tree goes down, they want to have me come by with a chainsaw. That's the kind of interaction that we have with the community that we have already. You put in a project like this, it's going to be inward facing. There's going to be a lot of people that I'm not going to know, that I'm not going to have interaction with. Basically, I'm going to see their cars, and that's about it. I'd much rather see a development come along with more housing like is what is already there, that is contiguous and congruent with what is already there, so that we can have the opportunity to have those interactions, that network to grow once again.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So next is Harvey Matthew or Junior? Mathis, okay.
Harvey Mathis, and I live at 95 Maloney Drive, have since 1979. And I, from that date, have monitored the status, which is just across the street from me, of that particular lot, and have watched what the proposals have been down through time from the city. And I watched in front of me as the development of Indian Springs in Madison, which is on the other side of me, and I saw the political process run and the developer run roughshod over the neighborhood by ignoring the principles of drainage and traffic patterns. And I now am seeing Fitchburg trying to push a development which also is running contrary to the single-family units that are surrounding this property. One only needs to look a short distance to the south on Rimrock Road to a development that Fitchburg allowed to take place, I believe about 25 years or so ago. It's called Brager Court. It was a very comparable piece of land that needed developing, and they put in, I believe there's like 12 houses in there. Much more consistent with the neighborhood that already existed there. Because much of the rest of the neighborhood goes back to, I believe, 50s and 60s. So there hasn't been a lot of development, but this is an example of an open piece of land similar to what we're talking about tonight that was developed in the more recent past. And it is, again, consistent with the neighborhood. I believe that the questions that have been brought up by some of my fellow neighbors here regarding an evaluation of the increase in traffic flow and parking issues and drainage are not really compatible with a high density or even a medium density for the neighborhood. Whereas keeping it at a low density is definitely what I believe needs to be done here. Thank you.
Thank you. So next is David Bambrough. He wishes to speak in opposition.
My name's David Bambrough. I live at 2819 Rimrock Road, Fitchburg, Wisconsin. Glasses. Many of us left the last meeting feeling that it was approved ahead of the meeting, rubber stamped, if you will. The feeling that they could care less about what the vast majority wanted to. Is this what democracy is supposed to be? Just shove it down their throats, and if they don't like it, it's too bad. Ask yourselves if you would want to live next to it. We're talking about taking away people's quality of life, changing that quality of life. I have no opposition if they want to build houses there. But this thing is not right for the neighborhood. And I agree with what most everyone said here. Well, with that,
Thank you, sir. Next is Matthew Owensby. He wishes to speak in opposition.
Hello there. Thank you for your time. Matthew Owensby. I live directly across the street from the proposed construction site. I live at 79 Maloney Drive, so when I walk out my front door, I'm going to be impacted by this daily. I'm going to be seeing what comes of this property. So when I come home, come out my door, it's of great interest to me. And I'm currently opposed to the plan as it stands, and I'm opposed to the potential reevaluation of density to medium density. The reasons I'm opposed, there's not many benefits to the existing neighbors that live in the neighborhood with this plan. It seems to go against the current makeup of the neighborhood, which is entirely single-family homes, as has been touched on. And there's ample amounts of land in the surrounding area that could be used to build such higher density housing complexes. On the way over here, driving in from Maloney Drive, I drove past a lot of open fields, and there's a lot of undeveloped land versus this is land in the middle of a neighborhood with existing families. I'm concerned about the overcrowding, the privacy. A lot of the homes surrounding the area are single-story ranch homes. So if there's elevated construction that takes place, a lot of these are going to be peering down into my property, past a fence if I put up a fence. I'm concerned about the noise. The people living there might have a dog, and they're not going to have a yard for that dog to run around in to burn off that energy, and it's going to be inside barking through an open window, possibly. I'm concerned about the traffic, the parking, if there's going to be overflow onto the side streets, notably Maloney Drive, which would most directly impact me. Are there going to be people parking right in front of my house in my yard? And I'm concerned about the longevity of the neighborhood and what it'll be like for my children. If this goes through, it could have a ripple effect of a lot of development, a lot of turnover in the immediate neighborhood, and that's not something I would like for my children. I'd like it to be single-family home neighborhood, and I think there's a lot better options than the current proposal. I got my daughter with me here today. I don't tell my daughter to try not to be the worst. I tell her to try to do her best each and every day, and I feel like what has been thrown at us neighbors is, oh, it could be a lot worse, it could be a lot worse, but we're just asking that you take into account all the opposition here today and seek our best interest, the people that are most directly impacted in the neighborhood that will be living in it for many years to come, as opposed
your
to
3 minutes are up.
Yep, as opposed to those in favor of it who are primarily in favor for financial gain. The neighbors that are in favor because they want to be lumped into the development project. They want to financially gain from that, and the development team obviously wants to profit. So I think us that are actually living there day in and day out, I just ask you, hear us out and respect us. Thank you.
So next is Diane Peace. She wishes to speak in opposition.
My name is Diane Pease, and I live right next to the lot at 86 Maloney Drive. And I am concerned about a lot of things, including the traffic, because that is a narrow street. It's not in great shape, and the traffic coming out of this property. And this is a single-family home neighborhood, as my neighbors have been saying. This is going to completely, reuse the area, or redo the area. There is a lot of traffic that comes out of the city of Madison next to us, including all of their, not only the car traffic, but all of their drainage and water drainage, etc. It is going to be very difficult for everybody to get in and out. It's going to end up with costing the city for a traffic light, because otherwise nobody's going to be able to get out on Rimrock. And I realize that the city of Fitchburg is doing this for, of course, the tax money coming in. But I think they need to think about the rest of us too, that this is a development that is not going to help. Plus, it's going to, like I said, it's going to change the whole area. I would like to know more about where they're going to park the cars. And when you get, 20 units, you're going to have between 20 and 40 people's cars, or 20 and 40 cars there parked. It's going to be very difficult on that amount of land. And I think it needs to be looked at very carefully. You could build 4 houses in there, 4 single-family homes. They could be very nice ones on that property, and it would be, well worth it. So.
Thank you, Diane. So next we have Luke Heyer. He wishes to speak in support of the ordinance.
Hello, I'm Luke Heyer. I currently live in Oregon, but I was born and raised in Tower Hill. I own the acre directly to the north of the property. I share the longest border with it. It currently has a single family home on it. I lived in that house from 2005 to 2011-ish, so about 6-7 years, whatever that is. And so I'm familiar with the neighborhood. And it definitely has changed since I lived there then. It's 5 acres, 6 acres or so. If you take that whole block, that's less than a mile from the Beltline. That's heavily underutilized land currently. I don't think that you can realistically think that you're going to have 5 acres with 5 houses on it at this part of the city or any place in the county that's this close to a highway. And I think right now is kind of the time where you want to really think about, what is this going to look like in the future? Are you going to have something that is using the land efficiently, in which you can fit people on there, the amount of people that should be there? Or are you going to, if you develop the southern part of that block incorrectly and they're not the appropriate utility easements and traffic easements, you could end up landlocking those 3 acres on the north side. And nobody's going to want houses to live on a single family home that empties right onto Rimrock like that. It's kind of hard to I guess I think that you should really just look at using the land as efficiently as possible. It's the best for the environment, believe it or not. I don't think that's going to stay this way forever. And if it's not properly used, it could turn into something, that's underutilized. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next is Aisha Liakat. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Aisha. So she wishes to speak in support.
Hi, thank you. My name is Aisha Liakat. I am the developer at 2735 Rimrock Road. This proposed development is for workforce housing. The 20 units will really bring in something that the community needs right now. Affordable housing has become increasingly impossible in the areas that surround all of our highways, especially Highway 12. So having the location that close, as Luke mentioned, about half a mile from the major freeways, being very close to downtown, this is a great area for us to develop 20 units that are owner occupied. We're not proposing apartment complexes. We're not proposing Airbnbs, those type of housing. This will hopefully, we're hoping to cater to our firemen, our police department, our teachers that don't have the capacity to afford regular housing that's being offered in the market right now. So the capacity would be achieved, the pricing that we are hoping to get to would be achieved with this number of units, and anything lower would be very hard in current market to be competitive. In addition, we're proposing the daycare center, which, as we were working with the city, it does seem like something we need in the area and we do not have in the nearby vicinity. I understand that as a business model, they might fail down the road, but it is a need that our parents have in the community. So if it is something we can offer them, if it is something that more and more families can utilize and go back into the workforce, especially coming out of the pandemic, that's a win-win for everyone. And I think it's important to understand the greater good here. And I understand that the neighbors would lose some green space and it might bring more capacity into the area, but it will be positive development. And I think we just need to see the future growth opportunity here for our community. And I'm open to any questions as they arise.
Okay, thank you. So next we have... No, we are going to have a question when we discuss this.
Okay.
Okay, you can ask all the question there. So next, I have Chaudhry Ali. He wishes to speak in support.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Chaudhry Ali, and I'm Aisha's father. I'm here to support her. And in this whole process, I've been engaged in whole of the process. And I'll say a few things. First, what we are asking is not the first time. It's already on the papers. This land falls in the Southdale neighborhood plan, which was made part of the comprehensive plan in year 2009. On September 29th, 2009, with the signatures of J. Allen, he was mayor then, this Southdale neighborhood was adopted and incorporated into the comprehensive plan. So what we are asking was already on the books. Number two, so far as the neighbors is concerned, I respect their sentiments, and this is not the words. Our conduct shows we respect their sentiments. The reason being, we bought this lot for the apartment complex. After buying this lot, I went to the neighbors from door to door and asked their opinion about the apartment complex. And they rejected my proposal, and I dropped the idea there and then. We dropped the idea there and then. Then we came up with a high density proposal. The neighbors opposed it, and they were a little bit concerned about the designation of high density, thinking somebody else can build apartment complex once again, because high density has no limit. Keeping their concerns in view, we immediately dropped that designation from high density to medium density. So this shows we respect their sentiments, and even now, no doubt, there's some green spaces going away, but that has to go. My generation, 40 years back, took a lot of green spaces because we needed at that time. Now we need another change in the areas. We need more homes. So let me read what the Southdale plan says. The Southdale neighborhood plan assigns land use of urban residential district. The urban residential district differs from the low density residential designation of the comprehensive plan in that it encourages higher density urban residential design.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Than low density.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So then we have another person online, George Cloyd. Are you ready?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for giving neighbors of the proposed development at 2735 Rimrock Road the chance to speak on this subject this evening. I'm George Cloyd. I and my brother Steve live at 2840 Clawson Street, 1 block off Rimrock Road and within 200 yards of this proposed development. We have lived at this address for 32 years and have seen many property changes near us. We are concerned this evening that the piece of land under consideration is apparently being proposed for high-density development. As longtime residents of this immediate area, we believe considering this parcel of land for high-density development is inappropriate, inadvisable, and potentially dangerous. In saying this, we particularly refer to the high volume of traffic on Rimrock Road, now passing by each day within a quarter mile. Hundreds of cars already make their way, both inbound and outbound, each day. Ideally, we would love to see this parcel remain as close to its natural current status as possible. If it is approved for development, we would prefer to see this parcel be zoned for low-density housing. This site is the last nearby available to provide any kind of natural sound buffer from traffic noise and vehicle emissions. If it is developed, we would prefer that any new structure be no higher than 2 stories. We are especially worried that this development will add to the neighborhood tax levy. Our own property experienced a steep bump in taxes just this year. Given that we are both senior citizens, my brother and I, on fixed incomes, this is a source of considerable stress. We ask that the members of the commission be sensitive to these very real concerns and suggestions. And I can tell you that since we moved here, my brother and I, 32 years ago, again, we've seen many changes in this neighborhood, and as for potential development, not really for the better. I remember our house used to look on green space, a lot of green space. Our backyard fronted on green space. Today we are fronted on Verizon Village or Artisan Village. And I feel like we're looking at the back of a warehouse all the time. It's ugly. It's terrible to look at, but again, they built it and we had no say in it. But I remember when the backyard used to front on green space. It was nice being able to see the wildlife occasionally. We'd occasionally see a deer. We'd see fireflies on a summer evening. We don't see those anymore. As I said, now we look at the back of essentially a warehouse. It's big, it's ugly. We're both afraid that more and more land around here are being used for that purpose. We would prefer low density and green space as it is right now. Thank you, the Common Council, for allowing Steve and I, my brother and I, to be able to speak this evening.
Thank you. So next, Jenny Russell, she wishes to speak in opposition.
Thank you. My name is Jenny Russell. I live at 270 Maloney Drive. Didn't come here to think I was going to talk, but I do feel like I need to say something. So Artisan Apartments came up over by our house, and we have 55 and older on the other part of our house, kind of. Now I feel like I got 50 people that are always watching me do everything in my kitchen and in my backyard because of these apartments. I have car lights that now shine into my kitchen, so when my family and I are sitting there having dinner, people are coming and going from the Artisan Apartments, and it just lights up my kitchen. I also have parking lights outside in the parking lot behind our house that now shine into my bedroom. So when I go to sleep at night, I have purchased blackout lights, and it still can shine around the blackout shades in my bedroom. It's can bother us when we're trying to sleep. I would prefer to see some houses there. We already have like low-income Artisan Apartments and low-income 55 and over. I feel like we're starting to get surrounded by low-income houses. More than happy to support it, don't get me wrong, but can we put some somewhere else too, and not just right here in our this one little section of the world? Also, I felt like we had a dividing line between apartments over here and houses coming this way. And now it's really kind of blurring a little bit. And I do think single-family homes is the way to go there. There are other business spaces in the area that could be used for daycares if they really thought there needs to be a daycare in the area. I am a parent of a 6-year-old. I found a daycare in the area without a problem. It was not difficult for me. I now have people that cut through my property all the time to go between these apartment buildings that are behind my house and to get to the park that's actually not that great, or wherever they're going, I don't know. But it used to be only maybe one or two, but now there's like a bunch all the time where I'm just always like, what are they doing? Are they stalking my house? No, I don't really know what these people are doing. And one would be riding a bike, and I've seen them 5 or 6 times, so it kind of makes me a little bit nervous. Plus, I have a 6-year-old, like I said, that likes to play around our neighborhood. One dog maybe in a home versus 25. In the back apartment building behind my house, dogs are barking constantly. I liked dogs. Now I want nothing to do with them. I'm constantly hearing dogs barking. A house might have 1 or 2 dogs. An apartment complex is going to have a lot more dogs. Poop getting picked up too is also an issue. We don't have a lot of good parks in this neck of the woods. I mean, maybe let's put in a park or something that's amazing, like that would be awesome, because it definitely lacks in this area. 5 acres, I live on a 1/4 acre, so I think we could accommodate a lot of houses in this 5 acres if that's what it was. My house alone is only on a 1/4 acre, and we're pretty good. So I think if, will comes, if there's a will, there's a way. So if you want to develop housing, you could find a way to make it work. You could find a way to make it not be landlocked. I mean, sometimes there's a driveway that's just a drive on a little parcel of land right in our neighborhood, right next to my lot. I mean, where there's a will, there is a way. I don't know what else more I can really say, because that's...
Your 3 minutes are up. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And please think about this. Hard.
So I think we reached the last person, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Okay, so next we are moving to the consent agenda.
Second.
Does anyone wants to pull any agenda from the consent agenda, any item? No? Okay. So all those in favor of the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. So next we are moving to administrative report. So Misty.
Thank you. So the water distribution system flushing began last week and is anticipated to wrap up at the end of this week. A section of parking lot near the McKee Farms Park main shelter will be resurfaced in the near future. The Chamber Business After 4 event is going to be at Flight Wine and Bourbon Bar on Lacey Road in Terravessa on October 11th from 4 to 6 p.m. Metro Transit will be presenting on Bus Rapid Transit at the Transportation and Transit Committee, or TTC, on October 12th at 6:30. The Fire Department Open House is October 14th from 10 to 2 at Fire Station Number 1 on Lacey Road. Nick Joseph is returning. He begins on October 16th as our new IT director. The Fitchburg Business Luncheon will be held on October 31st from 11 to 1:15 at Promega Kornberg Center, which is on Sherrill Parkway. And then lastly, I'm going to be sending out an email to everybody tomorrow morning, but wanted to let you know I am going to be submitting a omnibus amendment to the 2024 budget. The general transportation aid from the state, we got the preliminary estimate after the mayor's budget was released, and it's $125,000 more than what I had estimated due to the town of Madison absorption. So that money will be able to either be utilized as a part of the budget or could be retained for other purposes, but wanted to let you all know since it is such a large dollar amount.
Thank you, Misty. So regarding the $125,000, I decided that I am not going to move any other thing forward. I will ask for you guys, you're going to have capacity to submit any amendment with that money. Okay? So next we move to Commission and Committee reports, and we are going to start with Plan Commission. Gabriela.
I'll start with the ordinance. I'll move approval of Ordinance 2023-010 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0123, adopting and recommending the Spring 2023 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending MAP 4.3 Future Land Use Plan map for property associated with 2735 Rimrock Road, specifically from LDR, Low Density Residential, to MDR, Medium Density Residential. This was postponed from August 8th meeting.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, so Gabriela, you prefer?
Yeah, I can give a little bit of background, and then Deanna can jump in as well. But This actually was originally, we had a separate, I believe it was a completely separate ordinance before, where the comp plan amendment was originally to transition this to high density. And we heard that at the Plan Commission, and there was a lot of opposition, and the Plan Commission kind of talked it over and decided that this parcel really wouldn't be great for apartment buildings, which is what would be allowed under that high density designation. But there was no like in between ground for medium to high. Just like was at high density, you could go as many units as you wanted. So we asked the plan department to put together an alternate version with medium density, and then asked the developers to change their proposal because their proposal was just over the high density threshold. So ask them to change it so that if they want to consider that. So that's what we're looking at here is the medium density, changing the designation to medium density. And just for clarity too, although there's a lot of discussion about the development, this is not an approval of the development. It's just a changing of the zoning. So all the work with the development would go through additional processes with the certified survey map and the planned development district and all of those approvals that would have lots more discussion, lots more changes to come. So this is only a change to the zoning, which is not necessarily, and it's not approval of the development itself. It's just a change of the zoning. And then the Plan Commission did approve this back in September.
Diana, do you want to add any comments?
Just one small clarification. We will be, the proposal before you is to change the future land use map. At this point, if council was to approve that change, then we'll go through the process for rezoning, architectural design review, all of the engineering for stormwater, including traffic counts. This is just a very first high-level step in the development process. There would be, if council approves this evening, there would be several long-term processes that we would need to go through before anything's put in the ground.
Thank you. So now I am open to council's questions, comments. Do you want to speak?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. You have 3 minutes.
This is going to take more. What the heck? There we go. First of all, Aisha, could you answer a couple of questions, please? The first one is, can you define workforce housing and what you expect the price points to be for these units?
Sure. So our target price point is below the 400 range. We've been targeting the 375 to 425 range, depending on the market when we do get approvals and actually go see market conditions. But right now our goal is to keep it under 400K.
How do you define workforce housing?
I define it as availability for a certain income bracket, without being, low income, but availability for, like I said, a certain income bracket.
And what would that income bracket be?
I'm not certain. I haven't really done a lot of research.
Well,
there.
let me give you some information from an organization that has done quite a lot of research into this, the Dane County Housing Committee. So Dane County Housing has looked at Dane County because affordable housing, workforce housing is really a problem here. Mm-hmm. And Dane County Housing has determined that the median family income in Dane County is about $75,000. And workforce housing typically is defined as housing that is anywhere between 100 and 180, maybe 200% of that number, which would put a workforce housing unit at somewhere around $200,000, maybe slightly more than that. But your number is twice what any rational person would consider to be workforce housing. In fact, in looking over, you mentioned police officers at one point. Mm-hmm. A Fitchburg police officer, the highest paid Fitchburg patrol officers, make $63,000. That's not even close. And of the, how many employees do we have now? Around 300?
275.
Yeah. Probably only 10, maybe 12% of those employees would qualify for what you're calling workforce housing. So I think your definition of workforce housing is not even remotely close. So let's not call it workforce housing, because it's
Can I
not.
ask a clarifying question to
Sure.
that study? What is the standard model that was studied as part of this? So how many bedrooms kind of situation? So we're proposing 3 beds, 2 baths with parking. So I just want to understand.
Well, they're looking at the ability of someone to pay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you make $75,000, you can't afford to buy a $400,000 unit. It's just simply not in the cards. That's 5, maybe 6 times your annual income. So you just simply can't afford that. So it doesn't matter how many bedrooms it is. It's unaffordable to somebody who makes the median income in Dane County, to a family median income in Dane County.
For one-person household?
That's family income. A single-person
family income,
household,
okay.
the median income is around $40,000.
Okay.
So the other question that I wanted to ask, and it was brought up by, he's not here anymore. The property owner to the north, there's 2 properties to the north of your parcel.
Mm-hmm.
And those properties are going to, if those redevelop at some point, they're going to need access that's not going to go directly onto Rimrock Road. So the only other place they can go is through your property. And I understand that there has been some discussion about a road easement through your property, and I haven't seen a single proposal from you that accommodates a road easement.
So that request hasn't come to us directly. We actually made an offer on the property basically right next to us, so right to the north of us. And then we also proposed partnering in developing this area. But neither of those were accepted, and the owner actually hasn't directly worked with us on any easement requests. They have been working with the city, and we'd be more than happy to accommodate any such request if there is a partnership in play, basically.
Well, how would that even fit with any of the potential proposals that I've seen for this property? Because not a single one, including the one that you had at the neighborhood meeting a couple of weeks ago, and another one that I saw earlier tonight, none of them have any recognition that there's going to be a connection easement that will be required for those other properties.
Sure, and like I said, no official request has come to us to accommodate any such easements at the moment. And we have been working with the city in quite a lot of detail, but that conversation hasn't come up. I particularly don't have a lot of expertise in easements, so I would defer it to our city team and have them guide us on it. And we'd be more than happy to accommodate any such requests if we understand
but you
what
are
that means.
aware that this has been out there.
Yeah, Luke has attended previous August meeting to express his interest.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Dave, and then Gabriela. You want to say?
Jay, I think it's a little unfair, that price point. The city, I think we're trying to set up some program to help people buy $400,000 townhouses. It's not really germane to this discussion. But my question is, or for Deanna, what is low density? Because where I live, our lots are quarter-acre lots. Okay? We don't have, I have I'd say small but modest-sized house. So based on that standard, I think they could build 20 houses on 5 acres, or probably 18 if you had to figure the road in there, and it'd be the same density as my neighborhood. What's the low and the high density? So Bill has it here.
Well,
so
Diana can answer that question. Yeah. Diana.
I certainly can. So high density is above 9 units per acre, and medium density is 5 to 9 units per acre.
5 to 9, so that'd be 2/10 of an acre per house, which is a little smaller than mine. So what is low?
Anything that's under 5.
Anything that's under 5. So. So if they had, I still think it seems like you could have, you could have, 15 to 20 homes in this and have it be low density. Am I missing something? I don't understand this.
I think it's a smaller lot. How many acres is the lot?
2.27 total acreage.
Where,
But
where,
some
where
of
am I
that
hearing?
property will be
One-
dedicated for stormwater, so that takes a chunk out.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I heard 5 acres, and that's what was,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be no problem with 5 acres, but it's 2 point, okay, understood.
Gabriela?
So in terms of, I just wanted to share some of my thoughts on this. Like I've heard from some of the neighbors, they say that the only benefit to the city is, or to the residents as a whole would be the tax money. But when we build additional housing like this, for me, what that says is we're building housing, we're in a severe housing shortage in the Dane County widely, but also in the city of Fitchburg. And when we have that housing shortage, that causes prices to rise because there's just no availability of housing. So building more housing is incredibly important at this moment in time for the city of Fitchburg and regionally. So more housing is better. We also end up building a lot of apartment buildings, so renter apartment buildings in the city of Fitchburg as a result for that need of additional units, but less owner occupied. So when I first heard about this development as a general idea, I like that it's owner occupied because I think that it's good for us to be building units that are owner occupied, and townhouses in particular are attractive to me. I actually live in a townhouse with no backyard on very small lots. So and I own that townhouse with my husband. So these types of developments, for me personally, I understand the value of owning that type of property because I do own that type of property, and I think it's great, and I love having that available. And there aren't a lot of those available for anywhere in that range of price now. Unfortunately, that's kind of where we are in housing prices, and it won't go down until we have an overarching, building more units out, generally speaking. And then, generally speaking, too, I believe that we, in corridors like Rimrock Road or like Fish Hatchery Road, areas where there's frequent public transportation. There's bus routes that go through on a regular basis that can bring people both into the city of Fitchburg and then out into city of Madison and downtown UW campus, which this area has. Having more units of housing in those areas are good because people can utilize that public transit and not have cars. And I think that's really valuable to have housing, more density on those corridors. And I think that the future that we're going to see on these corridors, like Rimrock Road, is a higher density over time. And these parcels that are empty along Rimrock Road, I think we're trending towards higher density. I do respect that the neighbors don't want a large apartment building on that lot, which is why when this came before Plan Commission as a high density, I didn't agree with that because I thought that was too much. But I do think that owner occupied, medium density is a good fit for this lot, even though it's not single family homes. So, and I think there's a lot of benefits just regionally. We just need more houses. We need more owner occupied homes. And I think based on what I've seen, but that being said, there's a lot of unknowns about this project. So, and that's because that's where we are in the process. Like the process is, there's a lot of unknowns at this point because we haven't even done the rezoning. Assuming this passes, which it might not, but if this passes, there's still the rezoning. There's still all of the work that has to be done with the developer to actually flesh out this plan and make it work and do traffic studies and all those stormwater analysis and all of those things. So those specific issues that you have with the development, that will be worked out over time, if it comes to that. So I think a lot of those can be addressed on a piecemeal basis. But generally speaking, I think higher density along major corridors is going to be important for the city of Fitchburg going forward. And so I support higher density for parcels like this. Thank you, Gabriela.
Any other comment, question?
Oh, I got more.
Okay.
So I want to walk the council down a little path because this is the first time the council is seeing this project. So I was first alerted to this in March when Aisha sent me a message and said, hey, we're thinking about doing this. Can we talk? Can we meet and talk? And my response was, I would love to meet you and talk with you. But the most important thing is that you're going to have to get neighborhood buy-in before I'm willing to support this project because, I'm pretty sure that the neighbors are going to have some issues. So we traded a few more messages, and then about a month after that, a meeting was scheduled with the neighborhood where, as I suspected, the neighborhood was roundly opposed to this project as it was proposed. So I told the developers that, so the council, many of you may not be aware of this, in order to get a comp plan amendment done, it takes either 3 council people or the mayor to sponsor an amendment. And I told them that I was not going to do any work to try to get 3 council people to support it because they really hadn't done any work with the neighborhood to get something that the neighborhood would support. All they did was they came to a neighborhood meeting, they threw a proposal up, they took some comments, but then nothing happened. And to my stunned amazement, as I'm looking at the agendas, I see a referral out because the mayor decided to sponsor this thing on her own, which is fine. It's her right to do so. But I was still stunned by it because she was at the same neighborhood meeting where these people and a few other ones showed up and said, we do not want this. So then there was some more discussion. It went to the Plan Commission, and the Plan Commission heard from the neighborhood and said, we want to do less density than 24 units. So there was a decision to go with, to make it lower density and go with 20 units instead of 24, which the neighborhood wasn't thrilled with either because that's not really much of a meaningful change. So then there was, so the Plan Commission basically said we don't want to do this. So then it had to go back through the whole process again. It had to get restarted because now the classification was changing. So it restarted, and there was no communication with the neighborhood by the developer between that Plan Commission meeting and the next Plan Commission meeting, which was in August. And in August, we went to the Plan Commission meeting. The neighborhood showed up and said, we don't want this. And the Plan Commission approved it anyway. Then something happened that in all the years that I've been involved in Fitchburg politics and land use discussions, something happened that I have never experienced in any of the time that I've been doing these things. We were outside talking about this proposal. Many of the neighborhood people were there. The developer was there. And I'm sorry, I don't remember your name.
My name is Chaudhary.
Okay. To my stunned amazement, I said there should have been some neighborhood communication between the June Plan Commission meeting and the August one. And this man stood in front of me and he said, well, we didn't want to get too much information to the neighborhood, which was just probably the dumbest thing I have ever heard anybody say.
That.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
And there were other neighbors who heard that same comment. So the bottom line is, I then told them they need to get some neighborhood buy-in, and then there was nothing that happened from August until 2 weeks ago when there was another neighborhood meeting. So that's the second neighborhood meeting. Now we have a different proposal altogether. This proposal still showed 24 units, but the daycare center was gone. So that had people curious, but they still didn't support the project because of the profile of the buildings. So then we are here tonight, and before the meeting I saw yet another proposal for what might go there that I don't know who's seen that proposal, but there's another one out there that shows something like 20 units with the daycare center returning. Now, I have personal thoughts on this. I mean, I agree with some of Gabriella's comments that the long term for Rimrock Road is going to be higher density. But I am really not at all impressed with the way this developer has handled this project. I am not impressed with the lack of communication with the neighborhood. I am not impressed with, they were quizzed at the neighborhood meetings on how do you get to workforce housing with $400,000 units? And there was no response to that, and there's no response to that tonight because it's clearly not workforce housing by any stretch of the imagination. And yes, we do need more housing in Fitchburg. We do need more housing in Dane County. But what we need is more housing that people can afford to buy. We need housing that our city staff can afford to buy. And right now in Fitchburg, that's becoming a scarce thing. In addition, so while I might support the idea of having higher density along Rimrock Road, I do not support the way this developer has handled this project. I do not support this proposal. And I've got a number of serious issues with where this may be headed going forward, because so far, I don't feel like I can trust them in any way at all. I think they have been deceptive with the neighborhood. I think they have not put forth anything that the neighborhood can get behind. I think they haven't even tried. I think all they've done is they keep running numbers and they're throwing stuff out there trying to see what we can afford to build. And the bottom line is it's not going to work. Now, there are a couple of other things that I want to bring up. We have been talking, even before this proposal came up, about redoing some things with the Southdale neighborhood plan. That plan is now 14 years old. And a lot of things have changed in the Southdale neighborhood since that plan was approved. And I think it's probably a good time to go back and reassess that plan and figure out what kinds of land uses we're going to be looking for in the future. So someone brought up earlier tonight Brager Drive, which is a little bit further south, and it's just a little bit further south. It's only about a block away, and those houses, while the house on their property, the house on the two properties to the north, some of the immediate houses around Maloney Drive are getting up there in age and probably will be looking at redevelopment sometime in the next 10 to 20 years. The houses on Brager Drive are much newer than that. Those are only, maybe 20 years old. I don't remember when we did that rezone and allowed for that development. But those houses are much newer and are going to be there for much longer. And unfortunately, our ordinance only requires that notice be done within 300 feet. The Brager Drive residents are just outside of that 300 feet, and in talking with a couple of them, I'm sure they're not thrilled with this particular proposal either. So, as I had said way back in April and May, I think this proposal is premature. I think we need to get the update to the Southdale neighborhood done before we do this, because anything we do now, if we approve something and then somehow something gets approved and something gets built, it's going to impact whatever we come up with as a potential future for the Southdale neighborhood plan. So that's another package of my thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
Yeah, I guess in general, I'm always in favor of owner-occupied and higher density. It's just the most efficient use of our land and our infrastructure tax dollars, and especially when we're going to put this in a transit accessible area. And I guess I'll also point out that most of the neighbors are saying we should put more single-family homes here, and those will certainly be far more expensive than these proposed condominiums.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments? Okay, so you want to, Aisha, you want to respond to some of the comments?
Sure, if I could have a minute or two. So going back to the price point, there was a study conducted by the city where that price point came to $350,000 as a feasible option for workforce housing. And in addition, to answer your question about the engagement of the neighborhood, so as my father had pointed out, we were looking at buying this property in September. We were looking at doing apartment complexes here. We ended up meeting the neighbors socially on our property and started throwing out ideas of this not being owner occupied, and started studying the neighborhood sentiments, and took that back and completely redid the plan so that it would be owner occupied. There were concerns of losing views or the height of the buildings. So it's a two-story, condo, townhouse style homes that we're proposing, because that is what the neighbors wanted. They didn't want anything too close. So the way the buildings have been laid out, there's enough road access where none of the neighbors would be like, they would have 25 feet, we would have 25 feet. So that gives about 50 feet away from each of the neighbors. Being two-story individual homes, individually owned homes, the privacy would still be better than what our original plan was. It may not be ideal for the current neighbors, but for the residents of Fitchburg, this is going to be important. As we have talked about the shortage of housing, the ability to afford even, the ability to find even something that's less than $400,000 is becoming more and more difficult. Where I currently live out in Middleton, it seems impossible even for a smaller home of three bed, 2 baths. It is becoming incredibly impossible. So we've been working with the city, we've been working with the neighbors, we've actually met them on the property more than 15, 20 times. And every time we hear feedback, we don't want to lose our sun, or we don't want to lose some of the green space. Okay, how can we accommodate that? Could we put a small park for dogs, or could we put a small area for children? We've been looking at all of those, but with 2.27 acres, being able to offer adequate housing, ideally have a daycare center that has a little space for children to play in the back. The land, of course, is not spacious enough to be able to offer a community park, unfortunately. So we've been working with our neighbors, we've been working with the city, we've been taking all of the feedback and accommodating the plans for the past year and a month, basically, at this point, and revamping every time we hear more feedback. We're open to your feedback as well, and we'd love to work with you and earn your support, we're looking for constructive feedback. Thank you.
Any other comment? Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Since there's many of the neighbors sitting behind you, do any of you feel like the developer has worked with you? Just raise your hand. I mean,
I haven't received any. Sir, if you want to speak, you need to come to the microphone. We need to keep, okay.
What?
No.
I wasn't inviting people up to speak. I just wanted a show of hands, of which there were zero.
No, but he wants to speak, so.
That's okay. Let's let him
Well,
speak.
I'll just be brief. This I got passed to me from another neighbor, and so then I photocopied it, ran it down the street, around the corner, because none of us had received it. This is an invitation to go up to Finca for a community meeting. So I did get stuff from the city, thank you for that, but in my experience in going door to door to find out what was going on, most people had no idea. And so you talk about community meeting, I'm part of the community, I'm a block away. I didn't hear anything.
Thank you.
So, when you say you've worked with the neighborhood, I don't see any evidence of that. All I have heard for the last 4 months is that they're not working with us, they're not listening to us, they're not taking our comments into consideration. You're making minor tweaks, and that's not what the neighborhood's looking for. And, as far as this comp plan change, I think the bigger concern that these neighbors have is if we change the comp plan right now without a plan for what we're going to do, which we don't have, or even an idea of what the future might hold for this neighborhood, that we are going to, if something doesn't work out, then this could be sold to someone else with that comp plan amendment already in place. And then who knows what might happen. So I really have some very grave concerns about this. And I think it's way premature. I don't think the work that needs to be done has been done. And, to your credit, when you first contacted me, you told me this was your first development project. And not to be insulting, but that has shown in every step along the way. This has not been what we would expect the way this has gone is not anything like what we would have expected from our more experienced developers who build things in Fitchburg. They would have done the homework, they would have done the reaching out long before it got to this point. And so I think that's something that that no matter how this vote goes tonight, that's a lesson you need to take with you. That when you're talking about doing a redevelopment in an existing neighborhood, there's an existing neighborhood. And I mean, there are ways that you can work with people and get maybe not 100% of your goal, but at least part of it. And right now, you haven't done that work. And that's what concerns me the most about this.
Okay, thank you. Diana, can you explain if we are changing any the plan here in the comp plan? Because I am confused that, Alder Allen is saying that we are changing the comp plan here, what was presented before. Are we doing any? What we are approving here was the original plan amended by Plan Commission, isn't it? With the medium density, that's it.
Yes, the Plan Commission approved medium density residential. So what's coming before council tonight is exactly what was approved by Plan Commission in August. And what a minor comp plan amendment does is make a change to the comp plan's future land use map. In this particular case, what is being proposed aligns with the Southdale neighborhood plan. The Southdale neighborhood plan, unlike other of our neighborhood plans in Fitchburg, has a little bit different categories of land use. And so what is proposed is consistent with the Southdale neighborhood plan. However, what is before you this evening is to change the comp plan's future land use map from low density residential to medium density residential.
Okay, thank you. Any other comment from another? Are you going to add something new?
Yes, I am, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So while we're talking about that, the Southdale neighborhood plan was approved in 2009. Our first comprehensive plan was not approved until 2010 or 11. It was after that. 2009. And so the Southdale neighborhood plan was approved before we had this comp plan in place. And the comp plan does show this area as low density residential, which is why this amendment is needed if the council wants to go ahead with this development proposal. So that is a change. That's absolutely a change.
I want to clarify the comprehensive plan was revised in 2019. And when we revised the comprehensive plan, we also approved the Southdale plan is part of the comp plan. So, so I want to clarify that there was another revision of the comp plan in 2019. Any other comment? No? Okay, we are going to vote. I move forward this amendment because I'm going to agree with what Gabriela mentioned, that we need more housing in Fitchburg. This is a transit corridor where high density or medium density fit in the plan. I was following the Southdale neighborhood plan. It fit. I consulted with the people in the city, the expert, and they feel very comfortable that this neighborhood or this project fit the plan, fit the corridor. I want to bring more housing, owner-occupied, and this is a project that is bringing that. So this is what I move forward, and I support this amendment. So, okay.
Let me add one more thing then, since you're going that direction. As some of you may know, when you look through the Plan Commission agendas, there's always a staff memo where staff discusses what goes on and what their recommendations are. And if you look through the Plan Commission agendas, you'll always see things like staff recommendation, approval of conditional use permit, or approval of rezoning, or approval of this with these conditions. For both times that this has appeared on the Plan Commission agenda, staff has not made a recommendation. Staff has not said, approve this with these conditions, or approve this as is, or staff approves this or thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced cheese. Staff hasn't done that. What staff has said is if the Plan Commission wants to approve it, they should address these concerns. Or if the council wants to approve it, they should address these concerns. So at this point, to state that staff recommends this or staff supports this as it is probably a little bit of a reach. What I have heard from staff is that it's probably consistent with the Southdale neighborhood plan. But that's very different than saying staff supports making this change.
Okay, we have a couple of internal meetings where I was advised, so you were not part of those meetings, so you don't know what it was a conversation, but I'm gonna ask Diana. Diana, can you explain why you didn't incorporate that language there?
And certainly, so we actually, staff doesn't, in our normal memo process, we do, when there's a rezone or when there's a final plat, we do generally make a recommendation to support based on a set of conditions that we've worked through. Traditionally, and since I've been in the position, staff has not made a formal recommendation in our memo for any of the minor comp plan amendments. And it mostly has to do with a slightly different process that these different types of application go through. Staff completely agrees and supports that this proposal aligns with the Southdale neighborhood plan. I, just from my own position, agree that given the connection, given the location on Rimrock and the nearness to the city and how it needs to go to a higher density residential at some point. That certainly is the case. But just to be clear, in our memos, staff does not make a formal recommendation there. As the mayor said, in our meetings, we have explained that this proposal is consistent with Southdale.
Okay, I'm gonna go we are ready to vote, so I'm gonna ask for roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Allen?
No.
Alder Gerhart?
Aye.
Alder Herb?
Nay.
Alder Jester?
Aye.
Alder Maldonado is absent. Alder Strassman? No. Alder Udell?
No.
Alder Wheeler?
No.
Okay, so the motion failed. Thank you. Okay, Gabriela, next.
Just a second while I pull this back up.
So this one is.
I will move approval of Resolution R-18623, approving final plat request FP 252023 by Michael Marty, agent for Green Tech Land Company, LLC, to obtain final plat approval to allow the subdivision of properties into 11 parcels with 6 proposed buildable parcels on property located off Stanley Park Drive.
Second.
Did Plan Commission approve?
Yes.
Did Park Commission approve?
Yes.
Okay, what is this, Gabriela?
This is actually it was approved last year, but there was a delay because of a stormwater facility was being developed, and there was more time was needed to get it done. There's also some small changes to road names that is differences from when it was approved back in 2022. But this is very similar to what was happening. The next steps for this will be working with staff. It's a smart code zone area, but with presumed construction starting in 2024.
Any question? Comment? No? Okay.
Yeah, just one. I know this is the parcel that runs along the railroad tracks going back from Sherrill Parkway. Did they work out the stormwater issues that they were having back there?
My understanding is yes, and that was why the delay happened, but I don't know if Deanna can, I don't know the specifics about how that was resolved. Deanna, I don't know if you're still online.
No, yes, I am. And unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the stormwater issues that were along the railroad. What delayed this was moving forward on the stormwater facilities that the city is building to the north. So I'm happy to check on that for you, Jay, but I don't have an answer.
Well, the only reason I ask is because I know they've got a couple of buildings that they've built along I think it's one of the ones on Sherrill, but it might be on Lacey, where they've got a sump pump that's running 24 hours a day. And so, that's obviously not an ideal situation. So I'd love it if we could find a way to avoid that in the future.
The team is online. So, team, do you know anything about this?
I do not.
Okay.
Well, we'll just leave it in the developer's court then.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favor of resolution R-186-23 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So next, thank you, Gabriela. Next, we move to the boards of public works.
I'll move approval of resolution R-136-23, approving purchase of 2025 plow truck chassis.
Second. Did Board of Public Works approve?
Public Works approved.
Did Finance approve?
Finance approved.
Okay, what is this?
Well, it's a plow truck chassis. We had it, in the budget for this year, but we can't get one. So we're purchasing one that we will get in 2025. So as soon as we can get it along with this, we get that. There'll be other, like the bed and the plow and other things, will come with this, but we have it in the budget now, but we can't get it until 2025, so we're getting a price, purchasing something, coming in the future.
Any other question, comment? All those in favor of resolution R-136-23 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Next.
The next one, I'm going to be moving approval, and then I'm going to be suggesting an amendment. So, Okay. So I move approval of resolution R-170-23, accepting subdivision improvements, phase 1 of USANA certified survey map.
Second.
So there is an amendment coming. So
So
can you explain that?
So there were some water and sewer that were not removed. The construction did not get removed in time, and we found those kind of on the last walk down. So we're proposing an amendment, amend the resolution to add the clause stating occupancy permits may not be issued until all punch list items are completed. This is due to work to abandon water lines and sewer line laterals anticipated to be completed this week. So I would move that amendments. Okay.
Okay. Any comments, question? No? So
Yeah,
all those,
I have one quick question.
Okay.
Dave, in the packet was this map, this weird shaped map that is that indicating the USANA parcel?
I believe the phase 1 parcel, yes. Can we bring that up?
is Tim there? Maybe Tim can explain this.
Yeah, I'll let Tim. I believe that's the Osona Phase 1 parcel that Jay is describing, Tim.
Yeah, correct. That is the parcel boundary.
All right, so this is a question that probably nobody who's here can answer, but the previous things I had seen showed the Usona building and its associated stuff as being, and I thought it was just being a separate parcel, but since this is going to be property tax exempt, this seems like a pretty large area to be taking off the property tax rolls for just a couple of buildings.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have a response,
I
Jay.
think
I'm
we
not
had
on
a
planning.
discussion like 1 year ago when we decided to, but I don't remember.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so all those.
Do you need a second for the amendment? I don't know if we.
Yeah, we have a second.
Jay did it.
So all those in favor of resolution R-170-23 with the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So next, Dave.
Next, we have, I move approval resolution.
Oh, okay. Oh, because it's an amendment.
Now we have to vote on the resolution.
So
yes.
now we need to, so I need another motion.
You already have it.
Okay.
You just need to vote on
Okay, so, okay, all those in favor of the resolution as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Mr.
All right, next I'll move approval resolution R-181-23, authorizing acceptance of contract with Purple Cow Organics LLC for brush and yard waste processing services 2024 through 2026.
Second.
Did the Board of Public Works agree?
Public Works approved, yes.
Did RCC approve?
RCC approved.
Did Finance Committee approve?
The Finance Committee approved.
Okay, thank you. What is this?
So we contract with Purple Cow to take all the brush and most of the brush and yard waste that is collected from the properties. They take it and compost it and sell it, but it's too much for us to handle. So the contract is for 3 years for them to do that, and it's approximately $26,000 a year that we are contracting with them for.
Any question, comment?
Do you know where they do it, Dave?
I think it's down by Oregon, or not down in Verona, right? Range Trail, I think is their spot.
Range
in
Trail,
I think that's the Purple Cow Organics.
I think I
spot.
saw, what is it, road going to Wanakee on K. There is also have another side there.
Might have more than one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments, question about this? No? All those in favor of resolution R-181-23, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
Next, I move approval resolution R-182-23, approving reimbursement of water impact fees to the Oregon School District.
Second.
Did Public Works approve?
Public Works approved.
Did Finance Committee approve?
Yes, the Finance Committee approved.
Thank you. What is this?
So initially, when the school was built, our water impact fee was based on other similar sized schools in the district, their water usage. This being the sustainable school, their water usage is significantly less and has been proven to be less. And they requested a calculation, which Tracy did based on their billings, and we will be giving them a reimbursement of that since their usage is significantly less than we had anticipated. And we were the ones that did the calculation.
Yes. Yeah. So any other comments, question? All in favor of resolution R-182-23, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Next, I'll move approval of resolution R-183-23, setting the 2024 solid waste collection rates.
Second.
Okay, did Public Works approve?
Public Works approved.
Did RCC approve?
RCC approved.
Did Finance Committee approve?
Finance Committee approved.
Thank you. So this is what we do every year, okay? What is this?
I'll just add that, yearly, at some point, I don't know if it's next year or the year after, we possibly could go out for bids for a different contractor if we chose. But the long and short of this, I believe the rate, Bill, do you remember, would be for a single-family home would go from $232 a year to $235.
I thought it was
No.
228 to 232.
228 to 232.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill.
Correct. Any comments from?
Yeah, just to follow up on what Dave said. So the contract with Pelletary is up at the end of 2024.
Okay.
So we'll be going out for RFPs sometime next year.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? No? All those in favor of resolution R-183-23, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Okay.
So next one.
Next, to move approval of resolution R-184-23, accepting 2023 sidewalk replacement project bid.
Second.
Did the Board of Public Works approve?
Public Works approved.
Did Finance Committee approve?
Yes, the Finance Committee approved.
Thank you. What is this? This is every year too.
So we, I think you're aware of we identified sidewalks needing repair in the street due to cracks, uneven or whatever, and we figured out how many spots where they were, and we went out for bids for that replacement work, and we received a very favorable bid. I would say, I don't want to say considerably lower, but lower than the engineer's estimate, or quite a bit lower than the other ones. The Public Works Department did due diligence, calling a number of cities that this company had done work in, and they all had very favorable things to say about them. They're kind of a new company that the employees or the owners all did work for another concrete or worked for other companies before and know how to do this work. And so we're excited to have a good bid to do this work, and we look forward to getting it done this fall.
Any other comment?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
How long do we expect a sidewalk to last before it has to be replaced?
Oh, I think that depends. No, I would say,
What's the average? 20 years?
I would say 30 years.
30 years?
Tim, I gotta let you weigh in. I'm not a civil engineer, but.
Okay, Tim, can you? Yeah, go ahead.
20 to 30 years is a good time frame.
Okay. So as in looking at the bids on this, we went from a $300,000 bid to a $100,000 bid. And that's a pretty big range, and it makes me wonder, what are they doing to do a project like this that's so much less expensive? I mean, are we going to be replacing these chunks of sidewalk sooner than expected, or?
No, I mean, we'll be out on site inspecting them. So to give you a little background on the company, they're a newer company. These guys had worked for larger concrete companies in the state, decided to break off and start their own company. So the last year, they've kind of been doing private sector work. Now they're looking to get into municipal work. So they work for the city of Appleton, Fond du Lac, and Shawano. So those were the three municipalities we called. They did very good work for them. So they're just looking to really start out. That's really the main reason why they're so cheap. They're still a smaller company right now looking to start up.
Where are they based? Because those municipalities are a long way from here.
Yeah, I believe they are based in that area. Let me just check here.
Winneconne.
Okay.
Winneconne, sorry.
You're not from Wisconsin. It's okay.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, when I saw the differences, that was really rather striking.
It jumped out at us too.
Yeah.
So that's why we did our due diligence with the background checks, and as far as inspections, we'll have our inspectors out there ensuring we get a good product at the end of the project.
All right.
I just add, Ed, Alder Jetzer said, if they do a good job, we want them to bid on our road projects.
Yeah, they could have done Fish Hatchery Road.
All right, nothing else.
Okay, any other comment? All those in favor of resolution R-184-23, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so now we move to Parks Commission, and this one we are...
I would move postponement of resolution R 17723, amending the 2023 capital projects budget, bike lanes and parks, to give TTC time to review this at their next meeting. This will be deferred until the October 24th council meeting.
Second.
All those in favor of postponing resolution R-177-23, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So I know that we have two people that wish to speak, so, so you need to come October 24th.
I was going to argue for deferral, so thank you.
Okay.
On behalf of TTC.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. So, what is next? Oh, we have another one, Dave.
Yes, move approval of resolution R 18923, accepting the donation and installation of FitCore equipment from Adventure Capital.
Second. Did Park Commission approve?
Park Commission approved.
Did Finance Committee approve? So, what is this, Dave?
So this is various, I think if you look in the packet, you'll see various different fitness stations that is being donated, and we intend to put these in Key Farms Park, kind of at the, I guess it'd be the southwest corner, and we intend to put these in a kind of a circuit, kind of a circle, so you could work your way around. And the question we had at Parks was, this looks great, but is this going to be something that's going to cost us more to maintain or take care of in the future? And we're told that answer is no, and people seem very excited about having this this equipment. So.
Yeah, so I want to thank Mike Thornton and Nate Hoyt for Inventure that this donation is about $100,000. So they are very good corporate partners with us. So thank you. Any other comment? Okay.
Just one thing. Scott Endel did share out a map to the council about where it was in McKee Park, because I couldn't quite envision it. But for anyone watching that's curious, it's basically behind that beach volleyball court as you walk down the path that parallels the big stormwater retention ponds. I think that makes sense, but hopefully that's good enough for everyone to understand.
Okay, all those in favor of resolution R-189-23, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So thank you. So next we move to library board.
There is an issue with the chiller at the library. Right now it's working at 50% capacity. So there was a meeting with the city administrator, library director, deputy city administrator, public works, and the fire chief. And what would happen if there was a complete failure of that chiller before it gets fixed. It seems like it's still working at 50%, and some of the air handler software issues have been fixed. So it may not happen, or probably won't happen, but in case it does, there is a plan in place if it fails during the winter. And part of that plan is the library will remain open if temperatures within the building can be maintained above 60 degrees without the use of space heaters. If space heaters have to be used, the library will be closed to the public. Curbside services may be provided if the interior is at least 60 degrees. If it goes below 60 degrees, then employees will not be working. But that's, it probably won't happen as what I'm being told here, but there is a contingency in place. And hopefully it'll get fixed before we have to deal with the summer months, which is a different plan in case it fails
Gabriela.
Yeah, I know that we're planning to replace that chiller. Do we have any idea what the timeline on that is? Is it a supply chain issue again that we're dealing with, or?
I could not answer that right
Yeah.
now. I don't know if you know, Misty.
Yeah, I believe it is. So the equipment is on order, and we're still waiting for it, and then we have to get it installed.
Wow, that's been like almost a year now.
Any other question for Jim? No?
Good. There won't be any meeting in October, so the next meeting will be November 15th.
Okay, thank you. Commission of Aging Well,
I have no report.
RCC.
We met last night, and we had a really great, extensive meeting. We had a presentation by Christina from Wisconsin Eco Latinos, which is a nonprofit that does bilingual, green education, and interesting to do some work in Fitchburg. So we had a conversation about how we could collaborate. Maybe they might even be having an event in a park in Fitchburg sometime next year. So we hope to see them back. We also had a great presentation from FGM Architects, who's working on the police facility. They talked about sustainability, so we had a quick conversation about their approach to sustainable design, showed us their preliminary plans, and we talked a little bit about, they gave us a whole list, and there's these things that are like baseline things that you always do with buildings, like sustainable things that they're probably going to incorporate anyway. And then there's the second level of things that are sort of optional, and we might have to decide, pick and choose what we want if the budget doesn't account for it. So it looks like they have about 2.5 million allowance for sustainability upgrades like geothermal, solar, permeable pavement, things of that nature. So it was a good initial discussion about that. And then we also had a really interesting, I did want to give the numbers from the fall recycling event that happened in September. It was actually kind of a lower event that we've had in previous years. We're not exactly sure why, but we did still collect 8,025 pounds of electronics and 3,780 pounds of paper, 57 pounds of medicine. So quite a success in that way. And then we had a great summary. There was a meeting with Pelletieri recently about dealing with like the different services that they provide us and talking a little bit about potential cost savings. So one of the things we discussed was Pelletieri does our leaf and brush pickup, but we're actually the only city in Wisconsin or in their cities that they do this for them. Most cities actually do it for themselves. They have vacuum trucks that collect it for them. And so because Pelletieri doesn't have expertise in this and they use the bag pickup rather than the vacuum pickup, there might be some benefit into considering whether or not we want to switch to doing it ourselves or having another vendor do it. And that would obviously have a cost reduction for us. So we have to look at a cost-benefit analysis for that. We also talked a lot more about the drop-off site, the cardboard drop-off site. And the volume of cardboard is just insane. Like, it is out of control. It's way, way more far above beyond what any other municipality has. And I think we're pretty much the only municipality that doesn't have a staffed hours at a recycling drop-off site like that. Everyone else has shorter hours that's staffed. So we might have to look at it in the near future about whether we not want to limit those hours, because I think it's pretty clear that people from outside of Fitchburg are using it pretty extensively. So we're going to have a discussion about that. And also, if we do limit those hours, less cardboard, less pickups from Pelletieri, obviously a reduced cost from that perspective. And then we also had a conversation about unlimited curbside recycling. So we do have unlimited curbside recycling available, but they did an analysis, and there's only about 60 to 90 homes per week that use it, and out of 6,900 homes for pickup. It could be a pretty significant cost if we reduced it, and there would be options for people that had a regular amount of extra recycling. You can call ahead for a $3 fee to get an extra bag picked up from Pelletieri, or you can actually get a larger bin, or you can get 2 bins. So people regularly have lots of recyclables. There is an option for them that would be, even if we eliminated the bag curbside, unlimited curbside. So that's something we may discuss with the next RFP. And then one note as well, food waste. Dane County Landfill, as they're building a new landfill, they're looking to have a digester, like a food digester, which could be in place by 2026. So if that does happen, Pelletieri will probably start offering food waste pickup at that point. So we'll have to, obviously, a little bit down the line, but it's kind of an interesting thing. Also learned that Pelletier actually has an app where you can get notifications if the pickup's delayed, and they also have information about how to recycle, like if you want to know how to recycle something. So that exists now. Once I've downloaded it, I can send everyone a link if you guys want to share it out, but that's kind of cool. And then, the sustainability plan continues. The planning team is a kind of a community planning team, is looking to set up for their first meeting to meet to discuss that. And the sustainable survey is still open. So if anyone wants to do the sustainability survey, go for it. Oh, and question?
Only when you're finished. I didn't mean.
Oh, yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, all right. Just as a follow-up for the cardboard recycling, maybe a year ago, or that's more than a year now, 2 years ago, we paid $15,000 for a camera to identify license plates that lived in Fitchburg. Misty, help me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we are not utilizing that at all, or did we spend $15,000 and we're
I think they
no
use
further
it
ahead?
for this for what I heard
the
they
illegal
use,
dumping.
Yeah, when they bring the big brushes from landscaper company, I think this is the one that they can
Okay, so we still have a problem with folks from out of the city.
Yeah,
Dave?
Yeah.
Cardboard, as Gabrielle mentioned, it's out of control. Whenever I'm there, getting chips or something, I always go over there and introduce myself and ask where they're from, and then when they tell me they're from Madison, I said, "All right, I've written down your license, and if you're seen here again, we're going to write you a ticket."
I have asked that sometimes in recycle to people. Are you from here? Because I can see that.
I'm not arguing with any of you that it's not out of control. I'm asking about we spent $15,000 on something. Are we using it? No. And we maxing it out? I mean, but here we're already talking about hiring somebody, or what other municipalities do. Are we using what we spent? That's all I'm asking.
I think they have used it a couple of occasions. But I don't know if they use it when, we don't have a person looking at the camera all the time. So your question is no.
It's a really good, what I can do, maybe ask Ben to comment on it. I don't know if Tim's not on anymore.
So.
Maybe Ben can, we didn't talk about that specifically, but I can ask what the specifics. Yeah. My understanding was that I know they definitely use it for like illegal dumping.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I think my understanding was part of the problem was just the logistics of actually issuing the citations on a regular basis was a big barrier.
Okay, so it's being used for probably the illegal dumping, but not necessarily the cardboard, the amount that comes in. I use it all the time as well, and those bins are always full.
Yeah. But the other thing that we need to understand that is the way people are, consuming and buying. We are buying more things online, so with big packets, boxes. So that one is also changing the way we are buying stuff. So maybe.
It's half Amazon boxes. Seriously.
Yeah,
when I go in there, I bet half of it is Amazon boxes. When I look.
That one, it could be another.
So I'll send that little summary report that we had in the packet for you all to take a look at, but we'll be having more discussions about that next year as we go into RFP for the recycling.
So maybe, Misty, you can ask what we're doing with the camera.
What you're saying is great.
So next, anything else, Gabriela or Jordan? Okay.
That is all.
Thank you. Oh, the other thing with RCC is one of the members from RCC, went to the Plan Commission, so we have an opening, and so I am moving forward with an appointment for next meeting. So next we have transportation and transit. I don't know. I invited Steve. He wants to provide us some, update and some, about Vision Zero presentation. I don't know, Bill, do you want to add something?
I was just going to say that I brought some friends with me tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Our next meeting is actually this Thursday, but we as a commission have chosen to champion the concept of Vision Zero, and Elizabeth and Steve will be presenting all about that for the next 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes, Steve.
Well, thank you for having us. I thought that big crowd was here to hear us. I'm Steve Arnold, and I live at 2530 Targhee Street.
Elizabeth Ward, I'm at 5554 Colleen Circle.
We're both citizen members of the Transportation and Transit Commission. And earlier this year, we had several discussions about what we wanted to do for policy recommendations regarding transportation, what kind of areas we want to work on to make policy recommendations to you. And what the group decided on, perhaps because it was one of the most inclusive things, was Vision Zero. And that's not something everybody knows about. And if we're going to proceed in this area, you need to know about it. So we are here to start that discussion. And there's a long way to go. And we'll be telling you a little bit about where the discussion will go next. So Vision Zero is a concept, but it's also a new way of doing business. It's not a program or an event. It's really a different way to build and manage the transportation system. The traditional approach is that so the first thing is that Vision Zero is the concept that no one should be killed or seriously injured in traffic violence. So 0 fatalities and serious injuries. So the traditional approach to our transportation system is that traffic deaths are inevitable, that humans can be trained to do the right thing all the time. It prioritizes preventing collisions. It focuses on individual responsibility, and it deems that saving lives is expensive. The Vision Zero approach says traffic deaths are preventable. It integrates into its planning the fact that we make mistakes as human beings. It prioritizes preventing fatal and severe crashes. It focuses on a system approach. And in this way of thinking, saving lives is not expensive. It's worth it.
And so this seems really straightforward, but it really requires a shift in how we approach planning our transportation. Right now, we create a system and we create rules and expect people to follow it. This instead looks at human nature, recognizes that those rules aren't always followed. Often people make mistakes, and instead looks at what we can do to, looks at that and looks at how we can act accordingly. And this, as Steve mentioned, makes it so there are fewer accidents, and if crashes do occur, they're less fatal and less serious. An example would be replacing a high injury intersection with a roundabout. The crash could still occur, but a head-on and T-bone crash is a lot more dangerous that would occur otherwise.
So there are some preliminary steps, and we are taking one of those tonight. We need to educate community leaders to understand what we're talking about. We need to engage with community members, the general public, to help them understand what we're talking about, what's being asked of them, what's being asked of the city government. And then the first formal step would be for the council to pass a Vision Zero resolution. That basically says that we are undertaking to eliminate severe injuries and traffic deaths by a date certain, often 2030 at the current time, and that we are prepared to change the way we run our transportation system to do it. The actual steps that are needed to change the status quo begin with the creation of a high injury network map. We are fortunate that our MPO, our Metropolitan Planning Organization that supports all the communities in Dane County, is doing this for us. They're doing it for the whole county. What that does is not only looks at places where crashes have actually occurred, but it also looks at other places where you have the same set of circumstances, like an uncontrolled path over crossing a multi-lane highway or an intersection of two multi-lane highways. And so if you have a lot of crashes in a particular situation, you look at all the places on the network where that situation occurs and look at all of them as candidates for improvement. And so Madison has such a map online. There is a map for the rest of urbanized Dane County. You can see here priority corridors, priority intersections that have been designated for examination and treatment to improve safety, to reduce the risk of these severe and fatal crashes. Well, I guess this one's mine. Mm-hmm. So, one of the things, I've had 12 years as an elected official, and one of the things that people always ask is, well, who else is doing this? We don't want to go out on a ledge on this and do something that nobody else has done. Well, fortunately, that's not the case here. Vision Zero has been adopted by the United States Department of Transportation. The administrator is the Federal Highway Administration, and they are supporting states and communities in Vision Zero by the Safe Streets for All grant program. So that provides money for safety. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation has adopted Vision Zero. They call it Zero in Wisconsin, and it has the same goals. The MPO is working on Vision Zero, as I've mentioned. However, they do not have anything online yet. I do have some of the reports that are not ready for publication, and when they're approved by the MPO Policy Board, they will be online. And the City of Madison has adopted Vision Zero and is deep into their implementation plan. We'll show you some pictures. And surprisingly, the City of Sun Prairie is also another Vision Zero city. There are 50 other cities that have been designated as Vision Zero cities because they've adopted a resolution and started implementation and are recognized by the Vision Zero network.
And speaking of that network, but beyond Wisconsin, we're not alone. There's a nonprofit set up to help foster learning called the Vision Zero Network. It has resources, discussions, webinars, but most importantly offers peer exchanges and policy initiatives so we can learn from other municipalities doing the same thing. And then finally, what's next? I think we're planning or hoping to have a presentation at the Committee of the Whole, bringing in an expert on this so we can learn more and get questions answered. We'll follow up with anything outstanding to you all. We'll seek input from the public and then circle back here with recommendations to the council.
Yeah, before you move that slide, that first step there, we do have both a City of Madison and a MPO speaker who were working in as their duties permit, and when they come to the right point in their progress, they will be coming to speak to TTC. So
that's it. We're happy to answer questions now, or you can follow up with us at any time. And I just want to add, I think it's great that we got to introduce this the same day as White Cane Safety Day, because we're already in line. We're thinking about safety.
Can you share that presentation with us?
I'm sorry?
Can you share the presentation with the council member?
Yes, I regret that we did not finish this till today,
Okay.
And so it is not in the packet, but we emailed the PDF of the presentation to the council and mayor email address, so
Okay.
you should all have it. If anyone doesn't, they can get back in touch with us and we'll be happy to help. And you should be able to click on those links that we've provided as resources.
So I have a question. So I imagine that there is a checklist with all the things that the city need to do in order to be a Vision Zero community. So that one is, okay. So
Yes, it's not quite as cut and dry as, for example, becoming a bicycle-friendly or walk-friendly city. Certainly you have to pass the resolution, but so Vision Zero is very data-driven, and we will be sharing data throughout Dane County on the kinds of crashes we're trying to prevent and the kinds of facilities we need to improve and so on. But it's very situational for every city. A small rural crossroads would have completely different needs than Chicago.
Yeah. Okay. Jay?
Yeah, you've got this network map, which I really liked.
The high injury network.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the question is, what would it take for us to compile the data to create a map like this for Fitchburg?
So I tried to explain that. The MPO created this map. And because Madison has an active Vision Zero program, they have their part of the map on the web. But it exists for all of metropolitan Dane County, including Fitchburg, and it's one of the things that's in the oven and will be done soon by the end of the year, we're told. And at that time, the MPO specialist who's working on this will come and visit the TTC and present it to us.
Oh, okay. So that you were talking about this kind of network map.
Yes.
Gotcha.
High injury network map. And the high injury network map, importantly, is a prerequisite for getting the federal Safe Streets for All grants. And these are big grants to do things like separate grade crossings and things like that. And so millions of dollars. And so we want these grants, and so does everybody else in Dane County. And so the MPO is doing the groundwork of creating this so that we can apply for these grants in the coming cycle, the 2024-2025 cycle.
So we would have to make some step to create this sort of program before we could get this map.
At TTC, we are trying to be learners and learn what is needed for this kind of a program. A very frequent program, set of questions is, what is this going to cost and how are we going to get the money? And those are things that we are working on. This is, saving lives is inexpensive compared to the value of lives, but it does cost money. And why don't you go to that last slide? And these are just a couple of examples of some treatments that you may recognize. One of them is a separated bike crosswalk, a cross bike with the green paint. That's in the city of Madison at the Hairball intersection. On the upper right is the traffic calming bump outs that have been put on Nakoma Road by Thoreau School in the city of Madison to help the road design enforce the new lower 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on Nakoma Road. And the lower right picture I took in Milwaukee on a recent visit, and that's another traffic calming bump out. You can see that it supports stormwater circulation and gives pedestrians a more visible but safe place to stand and a shorter crossing distance. So these are all Vision Zero kind of concepts.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will be back to you with more, and we will talk with the council president when we think we have something for you and try to get on your schedule for the committee of the whole for more than 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Elizabeth. Thank you, Steve. Anything else from TTC?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you. Cedar. Randy.
We have not met, so nothing to report.
Agricultural and Rural Affairs.
Again, we have not met, nothing to report, but we are meeting next week.
Okay.
So.
Bicycle Committee, Joe is not here. EMS Commission.
Nothing to report.
When is the next meeting? What is the meeting that we need to go, all of us, or whatever? To approve the budget? Oh.
Yep. Do you mind? So it's next week, Thursday.
Okay.
Is the EMS Commission meeting, but they did change the rules, so it's not required that commissioners show up, though it is, of course, recommended.
Okay.
Yes, the 19th.
Okay. Are you planning to go?
I always go.
Huh?
I always go.
Okay, good. Thank you, Jim. Healthy Neighborhood Committee.
So we had a meeting last week. I was not able to attend, but there was a skeleton committee there that that heard some presentations from several of our partners who provide services in Fitchburg. And if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go and watch that meeting. It was packed with all sorts of really good information, and you can get a really good idea of what you are supporting when we allocate tax dollars for healthy neighborhoods.
I agree. Thank you. Housing Advisory Committee.
No update since our neighborhood walks. We were to have a meeting yesterday, but it got canceled.
Okay, thank you. Landmark Preservation Commission.
No report.
Tree Advisory Committee.
No report. We don't meet until January now.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Police Facility Oversight Committee, Jim.
Yeah, Gabriella mentioned a few things. We had the same meeting today that Gabriella was talking about. But just a couple of things to add. We were shown 3 options for the design of the building. Actually 4. I think it was a 1A in there also. It looks really good. The entrance will be on Research Park Drive, and has things like a community room that will hold 100 people. It can be divided in half. It has enough space for all the officers, property rooms, and all the things that this purpose-built building will need. So right now we're trying to figure out a schedule. There's more information that we need to get as far as the cost for sustainability issues. Once we get that, then we're going to be planning meetings for public input and also to come to the council with some numbers and some designs.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you, Jim. I think we are close, with the design,
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to mention that we had a field trip, it was like 2 weeks ago. We went to Illinois to visit a couple of police stations, Randy and
Bill.
Oh my God, it's too late. Lieutenant McCarthy was there too. So it was a great opportunity to see how a police station should what are the components, and it was I think it was very good for me to understand certain components that I didn't understand. So it was a good experience. So yeah. Okay, so next we move into the standing committees report. Finance. Anything else that you want to add, Randy?
No, nothing additional.
Okay, thank you. Personnel.
We're going to meet on October 18th at 4 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Public Safety and Human Services.
On November 12th, at the Hindu temple down on Fish Hatchery, they'll be celebrating the Diwali festival. There'll be fireworks, a short fireworks show, 6 to 9, and this is a kind of a national celebration. The first time they're having it at the temple here. And the other thing, there were 8 new operators licenses. They were all mostly for one establishment. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. We don't have anything for unfinished business, so we go to new business. We have 2 direct referrals, so who's going to do the first one? Gabriela, can you do that?
Yep. I'll move approval of Resolution R-193-23, authorizing the city attorney to act as special prosecutor in City of Madison municipal cases.
Second.
Okay, so Misty is going to explain this.
Absolutely. So very, very seldomly does it become a situation where the city municipal attorney has a conflict of interest for a municipal court case, but it does happen. There's a one happening right now in the city of Madison. They have reached out and asked if our city attorney could act as a special prosecutor in that case to avoid that conflict of interest. And our city attorney has the capacity and is willing and able to do it, so we're able to help them out. The other side of it is that the city of Madison has also offered to provide that same service and response back to us if we ever need it. So this is authorizing both the city attorney to take those cases in consultation with the city administrator, make sure she does have the time to do it, but then also accept that service in return.
And also, if we accept this, we have that partnership with them, we are also going to save money.
Exactly. Yep. Because if we didn't, we would have to hire that out, because obviously our city attorney can't act in those situations. So we would have to hire an outside attorney, which has a pretty significant cost.
Okay, Jay and then Randy.
So this resolution doesn't just apply to one case. This is moving forward. What kind of, I don't know how detailed you can get, but what kind of conflict of interest does the Madison City Attorney's Office have that they can't prosecute a DWI?
So I obviously can't speak to this case. I don't even know what the details are. But an example that was used in kind of conversation is, let's say there's an alder that has an OWI case. The city attorney reporting to the council would not be able to act.
Well,
in
that's
that
why
role.
we shouldn't get any of those, isn't it?
100% agree. Or staff, right? So there's very, very, very seldomly these situations, but want to be prepared in case.
Randy?
I think you just answered it, but it's far and few. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of resolution R-193-23, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next one, Finance Committee.
All right. Motion for approval of resolution R-195-23, police vehicle equipment.
Second.
And the Finance Committee approved.
Drew, do you want to?
Yes, he's going to speak to it.
You waited the whole night. You better speak.
Well, good evening. So yes, we're coming to council with a direct referral for some squad equipment. We have 5 squads that are in need of replacing. Some perspective on the timeline here. These squads that we are waiting on were ordered over a year ago from our vendor. So on top of that year wait, from the time we place the squad equipment order is another 12-week lead time. Once the equipment comes in, we're 2 to 3 months out for install. What's problematic about this is we can't order the equipment ahead of time because without certainty that the vehicles are actually being manufactured, we have to wait until we get confirmation from the factory that they're going to build the cars. We received that just under 2 weeks ago. So now we know the cars are going to be a reality. We can go ahead and place the order. My request is that we order as quickly as possible to do what we can to mitigate this 1.5-year process to get these squads replaced.
Okay. So, Misty, any? No?
No, he did great.
Okay. Any question, comments? No, I think we are being proactive. So, okay. All those in favor of resolution R-195-23, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, so next is we're moving to item 11, so mayor's report. As I mentioned before, I participate in the field trip to Illinois with the chief, lieutenants, people from the Fitchburg Foundation, people from PFC, and some others. So it was a great experience. So then I participated in an interview for Spectrum News. They interviewed me for as being Latina for Hispanic Heritage Month. So it was a good experience. They interviewed me and Alder Maldonado. I also attended to the governor's residence last week to attend a celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. what else? I also was invited to go to Leopold School last Saturday to also another celebration about Hispanic Heritage Month in our community. It was great. It was a lot of people, food, dances. I did my presentation to the budget, last week to the Finance Committee meeting. I will remind you that the amendments for the budget is this coming October 13. If you're planning to bring something and you're planning to add something because you need to remove something, please check with Misty and the head of the department. Also, as Misty mentioned, we have another $125,000 capacity that maybe you can use for a safety, public safety position for transit, or you can use the money to save start saving money for the operating costs for the police station, because police station operating costs are going to be in a range between $400,000 and $500,000 a year to maintain. So we need to think about ways to start, saving for that. But you can do whatever you want. I think it's great that you have that opportunity to have this capacity to bring additional amendments. The other thing I want to mention is that we are working with the business appreciation luncheon with the Fitchburg Chamber and CEDA. This is a great event. The last time that we did it was in 2019. We are celebrating 40 years. We have a great speaker, and I would recommend that you assist because it's another way to do networking, with our business partner here in the city of Fitchburg. So I will recommend you that you participate in that event. What else? One second. So the other thing, today we have a visitor. The president of the village of McFarland came to meet with me. I am continue meeting with others, community leaders, elected officials. And I also want to mention that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So this is very important for me. My mom has breast cancer, my aunt, my mother-in-law. So breast cancer is something that, as a woman, I recommend everyone to be aware, do your screening. You have sister, mother, friends, when you are starting your early, 40, start thinking about having personal screening about breast cancer risk. So that's it. That's it for me. Any question? No? Okay. So next we're going to other reports. We are going to start with District 1.
Our community garden cleanup is going to be not this weekend, but the following weekend on Saturday. And I just want to thank the city staff inspection department, Gabe, for keeping Lower King James Way clean. It's really been a great thing to go down the street and not have garbage cans and garbage laying out there. And he's been responsible, staying on top of it. So please pass that thanks on.
Thank you, David. District 4 now.
Nothing to report.
Lacey Road is starting to look good.
Yeah,
hopefully, it's definitely on time, but
Yeah.
it needs to get open, but it's starting to look really well.
I think it's coming on a schedule, isn't it? This is what we heard this morning, yeah. So, Jay.
We've had, so the council referred out to committee tonight an ordinance revision to lower the speed limit on East Sherrill basically between the two roundabouts, between Fahey Glen and it's Lacey Road. And so we'll talk about it more in 2 weeks, but there's been a lot of resident concerns about the speed and the volume of traffic on that road because it really is a residential street. So we'll talk about that some more. And I had one other thing. What was it? We're going to be, hopefully in the next few weeks, we're going to be starting some serious planning on the Southdale Park, where we're going to get together some information to send to the residents up there to try to get them involved in the process of planning the park. The council graciously approved $400,000 for park equipment in the 2024 capital improvement plan. So we're looking forward to seeing what the residents would like and what we can do to make that a park that they can be proud to use.
Thank you. Shannon?
No report.
Gabriela?
A couple things for me. First, because I don't think anyone else has mentioned it, the Fitchburg Fire Department has an open house this Saturday, October 14, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it sounds like they're going to have a car extrication at 11 a.m. and some other demonstrations, fire extinguisher training at 1 p.m. It sounds fun. So Fire Station 1 is on 5791 Lacey Road, the open house. Second thing, there was a notice on social media that went out, and also a news alert went out for Fitchburg, but there's this strange flyer that's floating around that's claiming to be Fitchburg that's picking up your junk. That is not us. So if you received that flyer, we do not know what that is, but it is not affiliated with the city, so you should know that before you interact with them at all. And then the last thing, since the leaves are starting to fall, this is the time of year where we start talking about leaf-free streets. I know you've heard this from me before, but 50% of our annual phosphorus in the urban stormwater comes from leaves in the streets. So really the key is to pull it out of the streets when it's about to rain or before it rains. That's the most important thing. Basically, as the rain washes over, it creates kind of a leaf tea that pulls phosphorus into the water, and that leads to algal blooms and low oxygen water that can be really damaging to our lakes and waterways. So if you're able to rake up the leaves in your street beforehand, please do. There's also, I just learned this when I was Googling it earlier today. If you Google leaf-free streets, the first thing that comes up is the County of Dane website. And there's actually a text alert that you can get that it's about to rain to remind you to rake your leaves. So if anyone's really interested and wants the reminders, that exists on the Dane County website. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill?
Yeah, this past weekend there was an enormous event at McKee Farms Park. That was the Oregon Fall Fury Soccer Tournament. Apparently there were 157 teams from all around the upper Midwest that showed up. And I don't know how many of the council here get emailed from the Dane County Climate and Energy Office, but there's an event coming up on October 27th in McFarland to talk about sustainability issues and how Dane County municipalities can coordinate with each other. And that will be at the new McFarland Public Safety Center, a net zero, 60,000 square foot home to their police and fire department, costs $22 million. And there will be a tour of that facility as part of this event. So if anybody, I can forward the email to everybody in case you haven't gotten it.
Yeah, the city is going to participate, Phil is going to that. Yeah. Thank you. So the other thing that I forgot to mention in announcement is that, as you know, we have an internal committee that is talking about how we can communicate better internally and externally. And they send you, Chad send you an email with this PDF that Jeremy and Lisa put together. This is a great information on all the ways that the city is communicating internally and externally. So Jeremy is going to come to the next meeting to talk about a little bit about this and how we can promote this to our constituents. And also, that there is on the website, there is a place where notify me. And this is how the second flyer specify how to access to the notify in the website and what we need to do and what type of information that we want to receive by email or by phone, the text. So if you have you send usually a newsletter to your district, please add this information because it's key that the more emails and information that we have is better, that more people we can access with our information. So Jeremy is going to come to talk about that, but please take a look at this because this is great information. Okay, so announcements. Next Common Council meeting is October 24th. The committee of the whole is October 25. So what we're going to be discussing in that meeting?
Don't know. We'll have referendum stuff on there.
Nope, budget amendments.
Budget amendments. That's right.
Okay. So I need a motion to
So
adjourn. All those in favor to adjourn the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So we are adjourned at 10:23. Okay, goodbye. Buenas noches. Gracias.